You Can Use podcast. Extra is hosted by Kyle and Ajay. Each week, they discuss Nigeria's current events and latest news. Thanks for joining and for being a part of this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Keep the conversation going as we give you something extra. News you can use. Extra is an Icon production.
Hey.
It's May. I just
That's
thought of that.
right.
Hey. It's May.
Hey. It's May. That is right. Man,
Close. Splash
it's
water.
another week. It's another week, May 5th.
Well, we don't have to say the date because by the time people listen to it, that's my trouble with podcasts. I realize listening to podcasts, especially news ones, you kind of give them the reference on the subject line, but don't tell the exact date because people are like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways, it is May something, blah, 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 but yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Back for more.
How's your week? Busy.
Well, it's always busy. I mean, you're always trying to figure out what's going on in Nigeria and try to be the voice because not a lot of news gets covered in Nigeria, even though there's a daily occurrence of news.
Yeah. I am sad about like the topics for this week, but I'm also happy for them. Or let me say that I'm happy for them, but I'm also sad. Like it's, but I think that we got some pretty interesting news this week and stuff. But I was privileged to watch the American Correspondents' Dinner. Was it last week, I think, or over the weekend? And it was pretty interesting. One of the speakers kind of spoke about he was talking to American journalists and how privileged they are to be able to report the kind of news the way that they do about their leaders and people of power, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable. And it just made me think about, wow, like if people in Nigeria, if the journalists in Nigeria had like that kind of power, to just report news as it is,
Yeah, that's
just
the
what could
problem.
that do
I mean,
for the country?
it's not necessarily that they don't have the power. I just maybe they don't realize they have that power. We've talked about this before. You go to Nigeria in the old days. There used to be a table on the corner, a busy street corner, with all the different publications stacked around. People, men, women, children would be gathered around these tables, flipping through one newspaper another. And I remember even having an office in Nigeria where you'd tell the newspaper salesman to bring you, and he brings you either daily or weekly certain newspapers, and you'd have them to read, to look at. Then the advent of internet news and different things like that, I think it kind of made things a little bit more easier for those people who didn't always able to purchase them. But again, the availability of news in Nigeria is there. What they're reporting on, what they're saying, how they're being fact checked and proofed by the editors, that's where I think a lot of times, as case in point, we had a couple articles this week, there were some typos and stuff. I mean, that is also a problem, so you don't have that level of knowledge that that you have this power to influence the people, but at the same time you take it for granted, so then you make mistakes and you don't follow up articles, and you're just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks, and that's not good either. So
yeah. And I just really feel like sometimes, even when you read some of the headlines and then you hear some of the stories of like the victims, like we have constantly said here that almost every Nigerian that is maybe living in the diaspora is connected to someone that's being affected at home. And there is a story of the voices of the people that are actually being in like the heat of a lot of the crisis and the chaos, and you hear what they're telling you, and then you read some of the reports, and it's just kind of you just want to ask a lot of questions. And there is this sort of dilemma in your mind about what story is right, which one is true, or something. But as you said, if they were able to realize the potential that they had in being able to speak to these things properly, and also become um a voice of trust, something that people would always believe that was done right, then that's
Yeah.
power in itself, that they would have with accountability and all of this other stuff. So
Yeah, I mean it's important, especially as we approach election year. We got the different things happening with PDP and APC, the
yeah,
primaries coming up. Who's going to take the ticket for president for this group, the governor for
yeah,
that, the senators and all this, and the media sometimes doesn't do a good job. Again, they have the power, they have the ability, but it's having the confidence that they know they can influence or at least expose, report truth as it is instead of being bought out, or some politician coming and paying for a good swing article. So
hmm and like, even just to kind of mention it too, like, I wish that they could really also report on some of the policies that some of the politicians are trying to push or they are campaigning on,
yeah,
and
what's
kind of
what's your
explain them a bit more,
exactly what's my platform? What's this is what I'm going to do. These are the promises I'm making. I mean, they do this. Politicians do that because that's what they think they're supposed to do, even though Nigerians believe it's more selection than an election. So
hmm
it's hard to But hey, let's report them. Let's have a comparison between this candidate and this candidate side by side. This is their stance. Let's show it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
these are things we can hope, pray for. Sometimes I've seen it, but most times you haven't.
yeah,
So this first
yeah.
article, as Nigeria approached the elections, you also mentioned an article on it's the May 3rd was the world, what was it called? The World Press Freedom Day. So I think
Press Freedom
this
Day.
this article was it's important to show that there's different threats to press, right? Not
Yeah,
just even the ability to report certain things, but they're
yeah,
being attacked, they're being beaten and killed. And that could be another reason why press is afraid to report the truth.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because probably there is the accountability of the law of how the press itself should function. Part of even like the reporting issues again, was the influence to the funding that they get from the government. So a lot of some of the procedures to which some of the cases go, they have to be processed through, just either are like they run out of funds, is it? um Let me see.
Well, I'm
Because
not sure it's funds. I mean, I know that you stretch an article. I mean, not an article, a newspaper media house, and it's not really built on solid ground. So they're often you're sending reporters out, and they're collecting money from someone who wants to do an article. You want me to do an article on you? Good. Here, give me some money, and we'll run the article. You
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
without a strong foundation, it's not going to work.
yeah,
But just the basic fact that Nigeria is one of the worst. Most dangerous, most difficult places for journalists to work because they're often attacked, arrested, even killed. Some are even spied upon or shut down newspapers, television stations. So, the whole Article 19 of 1948, the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, is allows for freedom of press. These civil
yeah,
society organizations should do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I even think that like they can also do a job of, like, a good job of kind of even explaining the law itself to the Nigerian people, just to let them know how much power they have, when it comes down to just being citizens too. But sometimes, that's like I think, just the fact of just not even knowing is one of the easiest ways to be taken advantage of, when it comes down to the law, where you don't even know you're right when it comes down to when situations are being handled, and what to do.
I don't think they
So
have to go out and broadcast that they have this ability. They just have to prove it.
yeah,
Oftentimes media is blamed, even
exactly.
here in the U.S., that they're blamed for wishy-washy reporting or one-sided or partisan or whatever, or even myopic. It's just one. You're focusing on one thing over the other. So I think it's time that Nigerian press, whether it's the television, radio, or media, print media, that they come together, they perform as they should.
Yeah.
And they should be held accountable, as well as the government should be held accountable for stopping or ceasing press.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, like I think that there are people that are really working hard to do exactly what you're saying, but they're the ones that are the most attacked. They are the ones that probably, like, if you get the head, then probably everyone else is going to fall in line because they're afraid of seeing what happened to this, the strongest or maybe the loudest person that is really trying to fight for those rights.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here it is, a chance, an opportunity for a candidate to get their agenda, their platform out, the facts to be reported on, but even added to that, just a general sense of we don't have enough truth tellers out in the media
Yeah.
explaining what's happening in remote villages.
Yeah.
The villages know that if they get their story out there, if the facts are reported on, attention will be given to them. But oftentimes it's not, or it's just one of another several cases that are being attacked. And what do you report on? All of them, one of them, several of them? Do you do a follow-up story? I mean, there's so many incidences of atrocities that it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Both for the country, for the individuals, for the villagers and the citizens, but more so also for the press to choose and select which one is the right one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So anything else on the press?
We need to
Freedom Day.
support we need to support the press. So,
Well,
press in Nigeria,
yeah.
great job. And for those that are really trying to stick out their necks to actually say the truth, keep on doing what you're doing, because the nation needs you. The nation needs your voice, and they need you to tell the stories.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, next article. Your man from Kaduna State,
Yes.
Senator Shehu Sani, the former senator. Now he's a governor aspirant. I think you know that he's running for the PDP.
Yeah.
He took his papers, so we'll see how far he gets. But I mean, people in Kaduna love the guy. I mean, he's a vocal, outspoken critic of both the RFI and the Buhari administration. But at the same time, he's not just saying nonsense or throwing accusations. He's trying to provide solutions.
Yeah. Like, so as I said at the beginning of the episode, that like, I'm happy, but I'm also sad. Like, I'm happy that someone like him can come out and really say the reality of what the people are facing. Even in the statement in this article that he said, like, where pray for yourselves and not for the leaders who won't stop the killings. It's such a powerful message, because literally, upon all of what has been happening in Nigeria, the Nigerian public still has hope in the leaders to kind of fix things, but they are depending on them, and they just keep on letting them down. So, like, at what point, are the tables going to turn in such a way that the right leader or the right person or the right group is going to come and show a clear path forward? So which is what I think that Mr. Shehu is trying to say here, saying, people realize things, but he has always been vocal, as you said, about a lot of the issues in Nigeria, and he has said it or articulated it in such a clear way that even the people can relate to it. They know that he's someone that is experiencing it too. He was
on the October train that was attacked.
On one of the train. Yeah.
So 33 days ago, the Abuja Kaduna train was attacked. He knows from firsthand experience. He was on the train several months ago. So he knows the trouble. And he called on the security systems. He called on the transportation minister to do something, to rise up, to protect the civilians. And nothing's been done. This could have been avoided, what happened a month ago. And again, he's evoking this. He's a Christian. But he's evoking this at the end of the Ramadan, the Salah prayer, to pray for yourselves, not your leaders, because so many people, this, in Nigeria, you call on Allah, you call on God, you call on Jesus, you call on whoever, but you don't believe it. It's like a magic incantation that you're reciting. You don't really believe it. You don't really understand it. So stop praying for in this way unless you really truly mean it. And
Yeah.
in fact, don't
Yeah.
even pray for your leaders. Pray for
Yeah.
yourself, because the leaders are failing you, and you
Yeah.
need to pray for your own safety and your own security.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even the security that you would even think should be provided is not even there,
Yeah.
and the worst thing is for you to fall victim to one of those situations where really your heart was on that security and it just never showed up, so yeah. So honestly, Mr. Shea Husani, great work. Um, he is someone that I'm trying to keep an eye on to see where his own rise it'll go, and how the people will embrace him in the next coming months, leading up to the elections.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it'll be interesting to see, because everyone's always talked about he should run for president, he should run for this. So him putting his name in the hat to run for a governor is interesting. So
yeah.
as you know, Kaduna State has always had a Muslim as the governor, and then a deputy who's a Christian. But the last election, it was a the Muslim governor, Arafai, and then the deputy. The only time there's ever been a Christian as a governor, it wasn't even elected. It was because of the what's his face being picked as the vice president. The guy ended up dying in the helicopter crash. The military took over as the governor. It didn't even last a year. So
Hmm.
there's some stories and rumors there as well. But it'd be interesting to see what would happen. What would be the response if he did get the PDP ticket for governor and APC runs a Muslim? It'll be an interesting election.
Yeah. Well, that's where like I also feel like the people should be empowered to be able to say, this is who we want to run, or is it just like the party itself is going to say that, well, we are the voice of the people, so whoever we choose is who the people are going to have to decide on, sort of thing.
Well, that's the whole primary. I mean, it's all. I mean, it's supposed to be electoral. It's supposed to be done by whatever, but sometimes it's done by consensus, or it's done by, hey, this guy's come with more money, so he's
Yeah.
buying the ticket.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Well.
I can't speak from experience or inside knowledge, but that's what I've been told, anyways.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be great to see him rise up. I mean, I don't think he's ever, after he stopped, after he wasn't a senator longer, he was continually outspoken, both in the media, social media, across the board. So he's done well to keep the voice of reason going forward.
Yeah.
All right, this next one, again, another religious leader, speaking on issues that are,
Yeah.
again, the bandits are terrorists. We must not allow bandits to destabilize Nigeria. The Sultan of Sokoto
Yeah.
just made this pronouncement.
And right there is where I feel the again, we need more leaders that are going to come out and say it as it is. Calling these criminals bandits is being soft on them. They are not bandits, rather terrorists. For those that have experienced the chaos that these people bring to the Nigerian people. I mean, just to even just hear him say it, it it shows that someone is finally listening. Someone, someone is saying it in a way, just like Shea Husani, that they have experienced it too. Like they have been through it and they have heard the stories, and they know how these people act. And you and me have always said we have constantly discussed this about the unknown gunmen, the bandits, the Boko Haram. It's like different names for the same kind of activity,
Yeah.
just to justify either a narrative or I don't know. Yeah, it just
No,
frustrates
it's
me when I talk about it.
words are important. We've mentioned this on different platforms as well. Is that the word bandits was always meant, bank robbers. The bandits came in a Hilux with weaponry, took over the bank, robbed the bank, and left. So there was always, if you look at the, we in our Silent Slaughter report, we downloaded all the data from 2020 till 2000, January 2000 until about June of 2020. So we took the data, and if I word searched from bandits, because they report the incidents, whether it's Fulani herdsmen or Fulani militants, Boko Haram, ISWAP, whatever, but you search the term bandits in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, always referring to those kind of bank robbers. It wasn't until 2015, 2016 that the word bandits were then described as those in kidnapping, those doing sort of attacks on villages in Kaduna State primarily. So to have the word bandits, it's a soft term. It's almost
Yeah.
like a Wild West. It
Yeah.
is not it doesn't evoke this
Yeah.
terror, So now we got the word terrorism aligned to the word bandit, and that was only recent.
Yeah.
In November last year, President Buhari made the acknowledgement that we're going to call bandits terrorists, but he only chose a few groups, two groups, and a few others. It was very unclear what he meant by who were these, who was he calling a terrorist, which bandits was he calling a terrorist? Was he just calling this Yan Bindinga or the Yan Tada, or are they, or all bandit
Yeah.
groups? It wasn't until January that it became known as all bandits will be labeled as terrorists. So you see, even the terminology has not been consecutive and followed along. It's terrible.
I won't lie to you. The only other time that I've heard the name bandits before Nigeria started using it was in cowboy flicks.
Exactly. There's even
So
football teams called the Bandits. I think I mean, in America football, it is, yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's one of these things where Buhari knows that these bandits are run by Fulani militants.
Yeah.
So for him to come out and say they're terrorists took him a long time, even though for 2 years, if not longer, House of Reps, senators have been saying we must label terrorists or bandits as terrorists. They've been pushing this for a while. But because he knew that if he did that, it could cause more problems, he hemmed and hawed and delayed the actual action on that. So now now bandits are terrorists. But it's interesting, in January when he made this pronouncement that it was about the same time they were talking about, because there's also talk of state police, Plateau State, Kaduna State, having state police that's employed by people that are state, that know the state, that know the languages, that know the color, from the area. But he came out and said, no, the state police is not an option. So at the same time, he's saying we're going to now address these bandits as terrorists, which means we'll get the security, the police, the army, the whatever to involve it. But it's not a local thing, so leave it alone. Well, so that means he's still in charge. He's still in control because he controls the army. He controls the police because it's a federal police. Giving it in the hands of the state-run police, giving it in the hands of the governors and the whatever the local officials would probably stop a lot of this, thwart a lot of these attacks and these killings, expose them, these bandits, terrorists.
Yeah, but then it just makes you kind of question like some of the recent reports where, if I'm not mistaken, one of the army officials, a report came out at the beginning of the week about how there were some of the military personnel, they were conniving with some of the so-called bandits or either Boko Haram people, and then look at the issue of rehabilitation, where at the beginning some were taken out of being Boko Haram or bandits, and then
they surrendered. They're so-called, they supposedly surrendered.
And then they were, what some of the reports said, if I'm not mistaken, and you can mark me if I'm wrong, that they some of them got the opportunity to get into the army to serve again.
Yeah, these are all things that, if true, would be a travesty, because the UN Secretary General Guterres was just in Nigeria. He visited Borno State. gave it a glowing review. He says, I heard all about Borno State. I heard all about the trouble there. But what I saw was encouraging, whatever. And that, if that was true, that would be great. I don't know if it's true. From what I'm hearing from friends who are now down in Borno, he
No.
probably was shown exactly what they wanted him to see: good rehabilitation, good IDPs that have left the camps and now living on their own, farming and being a part of communities again, children in school. So all these you can shine a turd, but it's still going to be a turd.
Yeah.
I can't believe that what he saw was the whole across the board the situation. I'd love it to be. I mean, that's what you want. You want IDPs not staying there, living on their own, away from the camps. You want communities. You want children in school. You want this. And he spoke of the soldiers who were rehabilitated. They voluntarily came. They were made an offer. They accepted the offer. They're being rehabilitated. Now they're back in society, or they're joining the army or police. That'd be I think a little too soon, and not a wise decision.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that wouldn't be justice for the victims too. You know,
Exactly.
um, that were
Where's the
terrorized
justice?
by
Yeah.
these people, because at the tail end, they actually got a better deal than the victims did.
Yep.
After being thrown off of their land, after
Being
just
killed.
not getting, killed. Yeah.
Basically, when you kill a father or a son, you destroy the money making. That he's the farmer, he's the in
Hmm.
the culture, the male is the head of the family. So once you destroy that, you've destroyed any possibility for the children and the grandchildren, and et cetera, et
To
cetera.
succeed
Now
into,
they have to go beg for other family members, depend on them, depend on other things. And yeah,
you know,
so you're right. I mean, if these so-called reformed terrorists get back in society, what are we going to do? Again, I would love to see it happen. I just don't know if that's the way to go, especially in a Nigerian scene, because people are questioning what's the curriculum, what are they being taught? What's the rehabilitation format?
process.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are they going through? Psychological, all this stuff, mental health things, or is it just, you are a good Nigerian, please come back and help us?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
But then again, it's like, it's still the better deal because it's better trauma treatment. Like, it's better, here is some money because you've passed your rehabilitation course, whatever. Go back into society. Do you need a place to stay? Do you need, what? And we can give it to you, and then they just go off as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
So some way, somehow, like, I think I do like the issue, the issue of um um what is it, where like the two parties can make up with each other, and they can come and say, this is how you hurt me, and this is what it's done to me. But there also has to be a balance
But
where
it has to be an
there is equal
agreement
just.
between the government and the citizens. The Truth and
Yeah.
Reconciliation thing that happened in South Africa when apartheid was stopped, Mandela was out, he's elected. It wasn't just, this is my idea and you're going to have to accept it. It
Yeah.
took a lot I don't want to say exposure, getting the people to understand, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have people that were victims present. We're going to, and if they're accused or known to them and they come in, they can be, but it's not a trial. They won't be convicted. There won't be any sort of compensation, but the truth will be out there. That was a contract between the government and the people. There's no
Exactly.
contract between the government and the people. Nigerians want to know what's going on, but they didn't agree to this. They didn't agree to the reconciliation,
Yeah.
or so the rehabilitation.
Yeah. Well, both the rehabilitation and the reconciliation, you know.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But that's, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, just I I urge lawyers, I urge people of history and the law to come together and come up with something to help Nigeria figure this thing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
important.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next, because of the primaries happening, there could be a lull. There could be, there's always something that happens to, you see this on the streets, the beggars on the streets, those Almadri children that go around begging. They somehow go away during election times or when an official comes or whatever. They know how to do that because either they pay them off or they take them away or whatever. And then they tend to come back. Same with banditry and thugs and militants. They sometimes connive with the government. Hey, we'll give you a certain amount of money. You just lie low, don't do anything wrong, and we'll, let us get us through this time so we look good in the international eyes. Again, I don't have proof of that, but I've lived it. I've seen it. A lot of times this is what happens, and we're just wondering what's going to happen with the primaries, with the election. The flip side could be it's chaos. We've talked about, this isn't one of the articles we'll talk about. Maybe next week it'll come out, but the whole APC PDP, are they going to choose a Southeastern candidate to be their candidate for president? The whole zoning thing comes into play where certain parties are saying we're not going to zone, we're just going to choose the best candidate. Well, the Igbos in the Southeast are saying it's our turn, it's our opportunity to do this. If you don't, it's not going to look good. Not looking good meaning in the appearance of man, but it's going to get violent. So we pray it isn't so, but we gotta watch that too.
But then what is like your opinion on that, on like different regions in the nation or different tribes taking up?
How much time we got? That's a whole other show, man. I mean, that's honestly the whole, you listen to everyone's side, the Duduwa, the Igbos, the IPOB, the Ninas, the just the Northerners, the Middle Belt, all the people. It's depending what you're looking at. A lot of people say the 1999 Constitution is null and void. It shouldn't be used today. It should have been thrown away and redone. Right. Even before that, people are looking back at even when the amalgamation in 1914, when the North and the South kind of merged under the British protectorate. And then you have a series of things happening towards independence in the 50s. There's different constitutions that were drafted in collaboration with the British and the Nigerian leaders. Azikwe is one of them. Awolo is one of them. So these people were very influential. You went through your Nigerian history. I'm sure you probably taught it. So all these things are there. But we threw them away because politicians got involved or egos got involved or ethnic allegiances got involved. And what should have been a good thing, federalism in a sense where it's regionally run. We don't have a president for all, but we have a regional person running this for this ethnic group and this language or whatever. Where is that? What are we doing? Because all we've done now is we've gotten everything centralized. Whoever holds the power holds the money, holds the everything. So we've got to get back to understanding the various ethnic groups, what they have contributions to play or whatever, because if not, they're all going to want to break off. And that may be the solution. I'm not saying it is, but
I think that we should do an episode just on that Constitution issue and probably
federalism.
And probably get like maybe some expert that could come and explain, walk us through the whole argument of it, because there has been so much online, so much discussion on that particular thing, and a lot of Nigerians now saying that it was that constitution that failed the country, so they feel that it should be revised. So probably that just might be something that can kind of help us out to kind of figure out what that argument is, but it's something that we'll think about and we'll try to put together. So definitely, I think that'll be cool.
Definitely. All right, last article. This one was disgusting.
This was a hard read.
Nigerian British nurse jailed 18 years for sex trafficking. So 18 years isn't enough, in my opinion. What she should have got is 18 years for every life that she destroyed, damaged, abused, whatever. So 18 times, I'm not exactly how many victims she had, but she had was it 80? I can't remember, but I was even alarmed, AJ, to find out that if you looked at the article, this goes back to 2017, 2018. She was first arrested for charges in Germany. So she was a nurse in England, was given citizenship, but then she was she used her influence to lie to girls in Nigeria. Hey, come to the UK, come to Europe, and I'll set you up. Well, that's a lie. She was basically paying them or their bill, whatever debt they had to her. She was trafficking them into prostitution.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's just disgusting.
Yeah, one of the hardest parts in reading this particular article was the process in which she was doing it, into the initiation to l- leading these girls to being in a helpless situation where they had nothing else to do but to just accept whatever terms of what, you know,
Yep, whatever she was pushing.
they were
Yep.
doing. They were, there were like some blood covenants and stuff like that. And then also the amount of money that she was making, she
Yeah,
made more than,
forty
you know
thousand dollars at least per person.
per person. And
Yeah,
then she also had like houses in Nigeria,
yeah.
and then they're in Britain too. And I think that that was what kind of started the investigation, because
Well,
they were
it
trying
was
to
one
calculate.
one person living in a brothel that kind of exposed her, and then
Yeah.
she spoke up, and then eventually she got caught.
And then they
And
started to
then
look into her
oh
finances.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
an this is the trouble. It's an international incident. It's a crime, not just of Nigeria, not just of UK, not just of Germany, but it's international. The State Department reports in the past 2 years or so they've have seen 1,000 incidents in Nigeria alone that have been perpetrated. 1,000 girls have been trafficked,
Yeah.
right? That's what they know. There's probably more there, at least double that, right?
Yeah.
And then over 70 people have been prosecuted or investigated or have charges hanging over their head. I mean, this is trafficking for sex is probably the leading one, but it's also for work. They sometimes bring in Nigerians into the U.S. for work, and they don't pay them. They're just paying off this $40,000 debt, you know.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
again, but sex trafficking can be done within the country as well.
Yeah.
You realize the further you define trafficking, it's done in Nigeria. Maybe a family needs some money, so they give their child off to an uncle or someone else. They sell them off. That child lives with them, works for them, doesn't get paid, is treated bad, poorly abused. That's trafficking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing happened with sex.
Yeah.
Sex workers, sex trafficking.
Yeah. But then, like, definitely, y- um, um, yeah, this is definitely a topic that everyone needs to have deeper discussions about. And even just understanding like what Kyle is sharing with us now, you have to look at the whole entire industry. There is no way that she was working alone, because she must have had
Oh yeah,
right recruiters
yeah.
in Nigeria that were hooking her up with all of these girls, and it's not even only girls, even men, guys too,
Oh yeah. I'm sure that
that.
young boys going over to work, who knows? Unfortunately, it could be sex as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is a major something that the world has been looking at here in the U.S. as well. There's been a large increase in exposure, awareness. You have the Amber Alerts, you have this type of things,
Hmm.
all these sort of things. So we're aware of these things here in the U.S. and Europe. But in Nigeria, people sometimes say, well, I know she's going to Europe. Well, where does she have to go first? Well, she first has to get to Niger, take a bus, and then from there she takes. I was in Niger. I was taking a bus from Burkina Faso to Niger, and there was several people coming, I think, from Sierra Leone or someplace, and their whole thing was they're meeting someone. They had no money because every time they got stopped by the police at the border, they had to bribe them to get across because their paperwork was expired. But once they got to the bus stop in Niger, they had to turn themselves in to someone that was picking them up because they said they're going to be brought to Libya and then to Europe to work. And there
Yeah.
was a much better. They would take that risk because it was a better life than what they were
Hmm.
living back home.
Hmm.
And this is the trouble. We have a failed state in Nigeria, the
Hmm.
killings, the atrocities, all this. And people, for them to think it's better to send their daughter or allow their daughter, or even for myself, or for these young girls to say it's better for me to leave and go to and live a better life someplace else, even though
Hmm.
she's going to be selling herself for years, paying off a debt.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
it's a vicious cycle. It's tragic.
Well, now, like, you also have it where even terrorists, Boko Haram, like we hear about the students being kidnapped in schools, boys being turned into child
Soldiers.
soldiers, and then the
Yep.
girls being used as sex slaves. Take, for instance, Leah Sharibu, and I do know Icon has been advocating for her for some time now, but just for the fact that just the regard, just just no
Disregard.
regard, yeah, the disregard of just age and life, and just feeling that you could just march into any place and just take anybody, and then just say that
Yep.
from now on you are going to be a slave, and you owe X amount of money, and this is how you have to pay it off. you know um 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 Recently, I had a discussion with someone too about this, and they told me about how even when some of these people, they are being trafficked around, they are being trafficked around in the open. You can enter a
Yeah.
bus, you can go to a gas station, you can go
Told
to
you
a
my story.
certain
Yeah.
place where
Yep.
actually somebody that is actually there is actually somebody that is in transit being
Yep.
trafficked to another
Hiding in broad
location.
daylight, as they say.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. And they also have signals that, I think it's something like, if you see someone flashing like their hands from like the back or something of that nature, it's supposed to tell you that they need help. It's like a way for calling for help or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
these are the things. So I think again, it goes back to, in the first article talking about journalists, they don't realize the power they have, right?
Yeah.
Same with the politicians. Their power is being abused and misused. But the same is with individual citizens. There's a power you have. There's no reason that you should go to Europe, give your passport to someone, pay a certain amount, or agree to pay off a debt because
Hmm.
you're going to get a better life. There's nothing that's going to be better. It's going to be worse. So informing and educating citizens on these type of things should be first and foremost done by the parents, by the schools, by the religious institutions, whether it's a church or a mosque. These things need to be brought to the attention. And then at the same time, if you do have a case, often hear times where a woman or a girl was raped or was attacked or was almost kidnapped, and then they can't talk to authorities because the authorities don't believe them, or they themselves will then turn and abuse them.
Yeah.
You've heard
Yeah.
stories like that. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of education to do, a lot of information that needs to be circulated. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to say Nigeria needs to become more like America. No, 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 that's not what I'm saying. But we need to get back to the place where neighbors are taking care of neighbors, citizens are taking
Exactly.
care of themselves, and
Exactly.
government represents the
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
Leaders
Yeah.
represent the people. There was times when you heard stories of chiefs that would sit under a tree and listen to all the complaints or the whatever from their tribe, their ethnic group, and they respond with
Yeah.
authority, but also with compassion. But it's
Yeah.
gone on to be, it's like political. It's a position of misuse and abuse. So
Yeah. 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 Definitely. You know, we have, we all have, we all have a part to play in the future and in our communities, um, even in the nation, and I do think that everyone just needs to be really open to being a part of making things work and really looking out for each other, because even some of the littlest cases of some of the people that are even being kidnapped and even taken away, it's like children even playing at a park, and just someone just coming out of a car, grabbing them and running off. So everyone just needs to be vigilant to the fact of human trafficking. And even the story of Leah Sharibu, please look into her story. It is just one of the saddest cases, and I do know that we are huge advocates for her, because she doesn't have a voice, and we have taken the mantle of being a voice for her, to continue to advocate for her and to raise awareness about her situation in Nigeria.
yep. We're coming up May
So
14th, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We'll be
next
live
Saturday,
streaming again on these channel that you're watching. There's a Twitter, YouTube, I think even
yeah,
Facebook as well. So join us as another Leah Shribu birthday in captivity. She's marks the age of 19. She'll be celebrating her 19th birthday in captivity. So again, we know there are other women, other girls like her in captivity that are being enslaved, but we need to continue to raise this. And Leah's the face of this persecution, the face of human rights abuse, the face of religious freedom abuse, the face of freedom of expression abuse. So
Yeah. 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 So you got a call there.
I know. I hung up. I always keep my phone away from that, but the
Yeah.
trouble is it's also on my computer. So all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Another week has
So
gone by. So yeah.
another week of extra. Please continue to stay involved. We are so happy for all of you that have been watching and kind of getting curious about our program. But Kyle and I are just always excited to talk about the news headlines every week. There is always just so much going on. I don't know if there will ever be a week in Nigeria where the news is just going to be like a lot of like happy whatever stuff. But we did say that we would try to get an episode where we would talk about
That's right. We did say.
just
Did we
just the
promise that,
progress.
or did we just say
Yeah,
we'd try?
we gave our word. So yeah,
Okay, well,
so but
promise.
yeah, there are good stories there. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Please tag us for those of you that have been following us on Twitter and on Facebook, and on Instagram, on TikTok too. Thank you so much. Please continue to share our content. Our
Follow
content
us
is
on
follow us.
MoneyGram.
Yeah, yeah. Follow us at our website too at iconhelp.org, and just learn more about what our organization is doing and some of the programs that we have and how we are engaging Nigerians, both in the international community and at home. And let's get some serious conversations going.
That's right.
Thank you so much for watching us today and being a part of our program. We really appreciate it. These were the Nigerian headlines, and we look forward to seeing what's going to happen this coming week. So stay tuned and see you next week.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.